Okay, so today we will be looking at this lead code problem to sum. Given an array of integers nums and an integer target, return indices of the two numbers such that they add up to target. Okay, and we know that, and we are told that there will be exactly one solution in this problem. So if we consider this example nums, we have certain elements over here and we are given a target. What we need to do is we need to find out which are the two elements that when you add up they equal to this target. And what we need to return? We need to return the indices. So if you see this example, 2 and 7, when you add up, it becomes 9. And so we return the indices 0 and 1. Similarly, if you see this example 2, the target is 6. So if we add 2 and 4 over here, we get 6 and we return the indices, which is on 2 is on the first index and 4 is on the second index. Okay. So first we can do is we can talk about this brute force approach. This is not an optimal solution, but I just want to talk about this brute force solution because it is also an applicable solution, although it is not an optimal solution. And you wouldn't want to, talk about this brute force solution. You would want to directly work on the optimal solution. But I still want to talk about it over here and the write the code for the brute force solution, just for my understanding. So in brute force, what we do is we run a for loop on this array, and for each element in the array, we run another for loop starting from the next element to the end element. Okay, so if we have to just talk about it, first we start on the element 2, and then inside this 2, we run another for loop starting from 7 and 15 till 15. So we say 2 plus 7, then we say 2 plus 11, and then we say 2 plus 15. So in this situation, if we have found the solution, we check whether any two numbers add up to target, then we return the indices. So let us just quickly write the solution for it. Although this is not an optimal solution, it is just a brute force solution. So for let I equal to, here first we'll run a loop on the nums array. Now we will run another loop on the remaining items from I plus 1. So for let j equal to I plus 1, j less than nums dot length j plus plus. Now we need to check if nums of I plus nums of j is equal to target. If it is equal to target, then we return the indices in an array. Okay. Now this we have told that there will be exactly one solution, so this return will always work. But just for the readable code, we will return a default value. We can return -1 comma -1. Although this will not get executed in this situation, but we are returning -1 comma -1. So let us run this and submit. So a brute force solution has been accepted, but we have to talk about the optimal solution. So this solution is like O of n square because we are running two for loops, and if the uh, constraints increase, then this would not work. So, and also there is a follow-up question. So can you come up with an algorithm that is less than O n square time complexity? This is currently O n square complexity. Okay, now let us talk about the optimal solution. Okay, over here what we're trying to do is in this solution we want to create a lookup object, basically a map, in which we store the key and its indices. But when do we store the key and the indices? For each element. However, when would we return this, the solution? So what we do is we call a for loop on this nums array. And what we check is whether that, because this a target is obviously a combination of two numbers. Okay, so what we say is that does is there any key present in the lookup object that is equal to target minus this element? So does our lookup object have target 9 minus 2 equal to 7? If it is present, then return the value of that object of that key and the indices. This will be more uh, easy to understand if we write the code. So let us say const. First, we'll create a lookup object. Basically, a lookup object will consist of the key as the element, and its value would be the index. So string and number. The type of this lookup object is going to be a key, which is going to be equal to of type. Basically, this has to be a number, but in JavaScript object, the keys in the objects are always of type string. So we will just mention it over here string, and later we'll check for this. We'll convert this string into a number manually. Okay. Now we will run a loop. So for let I equal to 0, I less than nums dot length I plus plus. And also we need to add to this lookup object. So what we will add? We will add the key to this object and the index. But we also need to first check because we have to return we have to return an answer. So we have to check if let us store the uh, sum as a string. So target minus nums of I. This is obviously a number, but we would have to convert it into a string when we check in the JavaScript object. So we can do it over here. So if our sum dot, we can do this. We convert our sum into a string. If this in lookup, then you return an array consisting of lookup of string of sum, comma, the I index over here. So if you have found the solution, then return the indices which is stored in the lookup object and the index of this for loop. Else you add that item to our lookup object. So we are running this for loop just once. So this is an O of n solution. And over here we will just return minus 1 comma minus 1. Although this will not get executed, but we will return just for the readability of the code. Okay. So let us run this solution. Okay. So we have got a answer and we submit it. Alright. So we have got a solution. So basically what we did was we created a map over here. We could have used the map object which is present in JavaScript, but anyways, this also works. But we also need to consider that our lookup objects, JavaScript objects, the keys are always of type string. So we have to typecast this whenever we need to check. And that is why we are using this string function.